you wish you could be here because we spend most of our time talking about the 1997 Cleveland Indians.
That's
who
true.
are a laudable team that really got a short.
Joey Bell or Albert Bell? What did you call him then?
Sir.
Oh.
At the time, I called him Albert Bell, and then he left, and I really started hammering that Joey thing.
Wasn't there an Albert Bell story recently? Like something
Yeah,
bad happened.
Yeah, he turned up bad in Phoenix.
Oh, yeah, he was kind of getting a little nutty.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right.
It's that whole.
Could have guessed that was going to happen.
Yeah.
That'll happen in Phoenix.
Yeah.
I was in Phoenix one time. It was 106 degrees. I was with my son, and we were standing outside, and my shoes literally melted onto the pavement. That happened.
I don't doubt that.
Okay.
All right, welcome
to the drill.
All
There it is.
right.
We do that stuff. Hey, Tommy.
Hey, Stevie.
If I were to say
Is Stevie okay to say?
no, no.
What about Johnny? Johnny?
No, I'm not a fan of Johnny at all.
Now, what do you think when I call you John? Yeah, okay, thank you. What is your nickname then?
John.
Is that it?
Yeah, pretty much.
What is John your full name?
No.
Or is it Jonathan?
I am a Jonathan.
Jonathan?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, Jonathan.
Yeah, look at you. Spelling.
Did you used to
You're not.
love rollerball? At the end of rollerball, they're going Jonathan.
No.
Jonathan.
No,
You
I've
never saw
actually, I don't think I've seen the original Rollerball.
James Caan.
I saw the remake with, was it?
John Travolta.
Was it John? No. It
No.
was
Nicolas Cage, right?
LL
He's in
Cool
every
J
movie.
was in it.
Oh my Lord!
So
Wow.
you're not cool if we call you Stefan.
Enough of this name game. Hey,
The nice hot place in Phoenix.
if you had a month in your office pool for how long the Zlatan honeymoon would last,
First of all,
you win.
yeah. First of all, Beto is not here. Beto
Yeah.
Durant, and Eric is not here.
No, yeah, it's a
And
small
I think
crew.
we got to call them out for not being here.
Well, that's what we're talking
they don't
about.
want to win.
Well, Beto actually is a professional and actually has a ton of work lately. He's like, he just kills.
And without an agent.
Yeah, that's right. He's his own guy, right?
But I think we should call him out just based on words of wisdom that Zlatan has given us.
That's what we were talking about. Zlatan, after a month of being with the Galaxy, and at first it just couldn't have worked out any better.
Yeah.
But the past couple of weeks, not so good. And they lost, I think, 3-2 to the Houston Dynamo.
Which he doesn't even know what a dynamo is. It does not matter. A dynamo has beaten us.
It seems like to call someone a Houston Dynamo, that should be like someone's club act. I'm a Dynamo, like Houston
no, I
Dynamo.
think half
Yeah.
the strippers in Houston are called dynamos. I'll have to ask some
Bring it back in.
former Lakers.
Phoenix and Houston. When is it okay for Zlatan to call out a team he's only been with for a month?
I was trying to think of something in LA again to compare this to, and you remember Gibson when he first came to the Dodgers in '88, the whole spring training thing with the eye black.
No.
That's
Yeah,
why we're
this
gonna.
is actually
this
good.
is history lesson,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So Gibson, he's in spring training, and Jesse Orosco, who comes over from the Mets, decides to put eye black in his cap.
Right.
So Gibson puts the cap on. Now there's eye black around his forehead. Everyone's laughing at him, and
Right.
Gibson goes ape shit and says, "We're not doing this.
Right.
We're not playing grab ass this
Right.
year." Coincidentally, they win the World Series
Right.
that year based on Gibson, and like they all sort of like took this underdog role. Gibson sort of rallied them as the hard ass that's going to wake up LA, right?
Right.
Maybe Zlatan's doing the same thing.
Funny thing about that, by the way, that story got around and basically won him the MVP because he actually didn't have great statistics
No,
that year.
25
but
homers, 76 RBI.
I think he hit like 280.
Yeah,
or something
right.
like that. But it was that story
Yeah.
about bringing people together.
Because he was valuable to pulling that team together. It was a bunch of misfits.
Here's the difference, though. Gibson already had standing in Major League Baseball because
yeah.
he'd had the World Series with
the
Detroit.
Tigers 4 years earlier.
And I think he was really seen as a team guy. He'd been a football player, all that kind
Yeah.
of thing. With Zlatan, I'm not sure that.
No.
How many teams has he been with, John?
I'm not sure off the top of my head. Give me a second.
It's a lot.
He's a mercenary soccer player, right?
And you get the feeling if he's criticizing, it's because you're making him look bad, right? It's not like, oh, I really want the team. Like I could see him saying, oh, come on, you were letting down the L.A. Guardians. It's Galaxy.
Galaxy. Right.
Whatever. Yeah.
So can you think of anything similar? I don't know if
No,
Kobe
the-
Kobe ever called anybody out.
No, Kobe demanded to be traded.
That's it.
Well, that's what I'm waiting for Zlatan to do next, to
I
be
love
traded.
Kobe. He's exactly like
Trade me, right?
Totally passive aggressive. Oh, I'm out. No, no, I'm not. No, I'm not going to talk. You're great. I'm gone. Yeah, exactly.
This should be the 9th team. The Galaxy is the ninth team that he has
Yeah.
played for.
John, you actually follow the Galaxy probably more than most of us, right?
Sure.
You think it's fair?
Yes. Yeah.
Are they-
Because
And is he the guy to do it?
he is the guy to do it because he's the best player on the team.
Yeah.
He's the leader. He's the number one.
Yeah.
Isn't there guys that have been with the team like 4, 5, 6 years that should be stepping?
But they've been horrible.
But they haven't been good. They've
gotten rid of
team-
most of them.
Well, there's only one player I believe left over from the last cup, and I think that's De La Garza. So only one player remains from that team.
So it's
The
not
Dos
even the
Santos
coach, right?
brothers
Yeah.
haven't really been as great as they can. Gio's had little flashes.
Yeah. I
but-
thought he'd be a much bigger star.
Yeah, a lot
Yeah.
of people did.
Yeah.
And then they had Steven Gerrard for a little bit, and he was kind of the leader, but
That
not
was-
really.
That was a
was
bad
failed-
one too. Yeah.
That was a failed experiment. So he has walked in on a team that didn't make the playoffs last year.
Yeah.
That has, outside of him, just not been a very good team.
Right.
So
and a talented team that just not
they
not
they
playing
have
up to their
talent, but they
not playing
haven't
up to-
played up to the level
Yeah.
that they could, and
Yeah.
they've been a fairly, frankly, a disappointment. Even with him a little
Yeah.
bit, but he's right. He's the one to call him out because he's the best player, one of the best players in the world.
Yeah.
And he's asked if he's going to be that one, and he has to step up and do that. He has to step up and
That's
do
a danger of this kind of signing. When you sign someone this high profile, it can look really nice at first, but it can turn ugly really quick. Because if they keep losing, it is like when Kobe was on those bad Laker teams. It doesn't look right. It's like when it was like Game 7 with the Dodgers. Everyone's excited, and then it just turns, and all of a sudden the crowd is so quiet that it just dooms the Dodgers. Like you can tell, it just kills them. If something like this keeps going, this could be kind of bad for them.
Well, Zlatan's quote, and actually they're now referring to him as Ibra in headlines.
Yeah, I don't get
It's a way to
that.
shorten it. I don't either.
Yeah.
He says,
Ibra.
Ibra. Either I wake up and I take care of it, or we all wake up.
Well, then you do.
Yeah, I know.
I don't have to wait. I get to keep sleeping?
I know.
Please. Yeah.
Be my guest. You're welcome.
Now, I don't understand. We were talking about this. The nickname Ibra, what, Zlatan isn't awesome enough? It sounds like
perfect.
a Star Wars character.
It's got L.A. in it. It's got the whole marketing
It's
thing.
got a Z
Yeah.
or
Oh.
Z, as they say in Europe. What?
And tan, which is people in L.A.
It works on so many levels.
It's, yeah.
All right, Eric is not here. Eric is dealing with car issues. Is that right, John?
Yes.
His awesome SUV is on his last legs apparently.
okay.
So he can't count
can't
me down.
call him
So
out.
I'm going to count me down here. So we're going to do the drill. Got two lovely items. Let's start in
Here,
3.
I'll count you down.
Okay,
I'll
good.
count you down.
Count me down.
All right, that was my stupid
Uh-huh.
timer. If I could find it on my phone. There we go. All right, here we go. Here we go. All right, in 3, 2, 1.
So we just we just watched LeBron James once again dispatch the Toronto Raptors, and while this wasn't totally unexpected, it makes me think now. A couple months ago, it seemed to a lot of people a fait accompli that LeBron was going to leave Cleveland, and for a lot of people that he was going to come and play with the Lakers. I was talking with John about this. At what point does the Cavaliers season get so successful that you can't, in kind of good conscience, leave the team? They're about to go to the conference final where they'll probably play the Boston Celtics. Now, I don't think they're going to beat this. I don't know if they're going to beat the Celtics. The Celtics,
20 seconds.
yeah, they're on a run. But if he does get to the final, can he leave the Cavs? This might be the worst thing that could happen to the Lakers. I'm asking John
10.
now.
9.
Johnny,
Yeah.
what do you think?
All right, so I'm stopping the clock. You had
That's fine.
55.
From the town.
And you are surrendering your last 5 seconds.
That's fine.
I don't think he leaves. I've been saying this from the beginning. I don't think he leaves. I don't think he's going
But having
anywhere.
nothing to do with the success of the team?
I don't think it matters. I think if they win the championship this year, what he was gonna do is gonna be the same.
Right. If they'd been beaten by the Pacers,
If
do you
they
think
had
he
been
leaves?
beaten by the Pacers, I think there was a better chance of him leaving at
Right.
that point. But I still didn't think he was leaving, and I definitely don't think he's coming west.
right?
I don't think he wants to deal with the West. Why
Right.
should he deal with the West when he can?
He might
in
not
his-
get out of the first round.
right when
Yeah.
he's in his
his better
15 years.
his
Yeah.
better entry point is somewhere
is in the East. He has
yeah.
a much higher percentage of
especially
winning
that
a championship.
Philadelphia team. Oh my gosh.
If that would be the
Yeah.
one where I would say, like, if he went to Philadelphia, I wouldn't
my
be totally
gosh.
surprised.
Yeah.
Because that team is, they've done what
Oh my
basically the
God.
Cavs did before he came to the Cavs.
Yeah.
They had a lot of high draft picks and drafted fairly well.
Couldn't you argue that the Cavs right now is constituted with Clarkson, Nance, and Hood have almost as much as young talent as the Lakers do anyway, right? I mean,
yeah, it wouldn't be a talent thing for him
Yeah.
to come to L.A.
No,
It's
it wouldn't
a-
be
It's
if
a
he's
choice of life.
if he's picking a team to go to where he thinks he could win a championship.
yeah,
He's not coming to the Lakers.
yeah,
Because they are not winning a
Or
championship
Cavs
with
or
that.
Clippers.
yeah.
It's-
Oh no.
Not
Oh,
the
no.
Clippers either.
It would seem the Sixers seem the most natural. Although a lot of people point out that he and Ben Simmons basically play the same position, and Ben Simmons, interesting enough, has really kind of struggled now against the Celtics. He's kind of been exposed a little because he
Yeah.
can't shoot,
Yeah.
and maybe being around LeBron maybe could help that, but maybe could really retard his progress too. I mean, I don't know. That's an interesting. Wouldn't it be funny if they traded Kyrie for LeBron, and he went with Boston?
They're not going to trade Kyrie for LeBron.
I don't
Kyrie
think
is unwelcomed at this point in Cleveland because he, in his leaving Cleveland, he
Yes.
called it like not a real city
that's
and
not
stuff like that.
nice.
So yeah,
I'm done with this topic.
That's not cool.
I'm done.
Okay, drill number 2.
Did I look disturbed? I'm sorry.
You
I'm sorry. I'm
you
supposed to
seem
be more cordial.
so nonplussed.
I'm sorry. I have a big event coming up soon in the show, and I'm preparing
That's right.
mentally.
Oh yeah, yeah.
oh gosh.
Here we go.
All right, 3, 2, 1, go.
Hey, I just want to apologize to Mike Trout, okay? Because over this, by the way, is our 10th
Show.
drill. So,
Yeah.
so we're in a double here. We're double figures, and several times on these shows,
We're not turning back.
I have kind of knocked Mike Trout for not being a star. And that's so stupid because I was pointing out that he's not the kind of guy who's going to show up on Instagram doing wacky things or saying wacky things. But the fact is he's a once-in-a-lifetime talent. Other once-in-a-lifetime talents like Lou Gehrig and Willie Mays were not
Hank
expected to be stand-up comedians or singers. And I don't expect George Clooney to hit 450-foot,
They just did their job.
home runs. Yeah, and Mike Trout does his job better than almost anyone like ever. And you were telling me that apparently there are these videos of him signing autographs, people losing their minds. He is
Kids,
a nice,
especially.
sweet guy.
He's this great guy in the locker room. I've seen him firsthand in an Angel locker room. He's the most perfect kid. I would love to have him as my kid,
Right.
just to see the way he treats people and acts with his fame and not as full of himself.
Yeah. He's a genuine person,
Yeah.
which, of course, I don't get.
Oh, I would hate to have
'Cause
him
I'm
go
a
to the
complete fraud.
I would hate to have him go to the Phillies eventually, but
Yeah.
that's where he's from, and I think that might be the perfect.
And then,
game
of
for
course, they
him.
always talk about him and Bryce Harper being with the Yankees.
I don't see that.
But they're paying attention. I think he seems perfectly fine here.
Yeah, he's fine.
Perfectly
He
fine.
doesn't need any limelight.
Right.
He knows how good he is. He's just not into that. No.
I'm sorry. You're great. Keep doing you. Beautiful.
On behalf of Mike Trout,
Yes.
you need to work on that apology some more.
Why? That doesn't seem real?
No. It seemed real. You
Okay.
just need to continue apologizing.
Yes, it's true.
Because that has been one of your things. Is you're big on the star power thing.
It's
Then
true.
we will call you a Mike Trout apologist, which will ruin all your journalistic credibility.
I'm totally fine with you being a Mike Trout apologist, by the way, because as a non-Angel fan,
Yeah.
Mike Trout is the most impressive baseball player I've ever seen.
Sure.
God.
And
Yeah.
so we cover. We're going on 5 years now. We've covered the Little League World Series.
Yeah.
One of the big things that they have with Little League World Series is the kids have this questionnaire they fill out, and it is overwhelmingly
Mike Trout?
Mike Trout. Mike
Wow.
Trout is the favorite player of Little Leaguers for
Yeah.
the last 5 years.
Right.
And the only one who's kind of a little bit moved in on his territory is Jose Altuve. And I'm
Yeah.
pretty
Because he's
sure
small.
Yeah,
that's because he's
yeah.
5'6",
Yes.
and these kids are like, hey, I'm
Yeah.
going to be 5'6"
Right.
at least.
Yeah.
So
Or I'm taller than the AL MVP.
Right.
Yeah.
But that's
Yeah, I was thinking maybe Bryce Harper much?
a
don't-
little bit of Bryce Harper love, not as much.
But see-
he's
see,
much more a baseball writers fan.
I
Like, they
think,
love
see,
him.
this is the thing. I think the young generation, I hate takes me back to the 60s, the young generation, one thing they appreciate most of all is genuineness, like being real.
And that's what the video proves that.
Yeah,
Or just a guy who's going to knock the shit out of a ball.
it is true.
Oh my God! Did you see the one he hit the other day? Just broke the stat caster or whatever they call it.
He does have a beautiful
the StatCast.
Yeah.
He's got it all. He's amazing.
broke
It's a weird thing of physics that left-handed batters always have more beautiful swings aesthetically than right-handed batters. Right-handed batters always, it just looks very utilitarian. He has a gorgeous swing. It's just beautiful.
Well, it's perfectly balanced.
Yeah.
You can see the angles and everything.
Yeah.
It's always on. He's always on. I mean, he doesn't miss pitches either.
But let me ask you this, Tommy. If he hit a grand slam to win the World Series, and he was coming and he touched home base and everyone was happy, and he came running to you and he went to give you a high five, Tommy. You as a reporter, would you high five him?
I wouldn't be on the field. No, I would get out of the way as much as possible.
Because that's not your role.
Well, I was in this position once before when the Kings won their first Stanley Cup championship in 2012. They told us, all right, you have to interview the players on the ice, right?
Right.
So they lead all the reporters on the ice. And I go, I do not belong here. There were parties going on. There were hugs.
Yeah.
I needed quotes for a story.
Yeah.
I don't belong here. This was like I was so not wanting to be there.
Right. Which is the way most people feel when you show up. It's like, God, he really shouldn't be here.
Well, I don't want to be in a
Uninvited
locker room
Hoffarth.
where they're spraying champagne and stuff either.
Yeah.
I stay off to the side. This is their moment.
Right.
I'm not part of this team. I'm reporting on it.
So bring it up because for this week's biz,
The business. What? I forgot the song already.
it's business time. Tommy, let's talk about it. I'll just get you started and you take it up. A week ago Friday, the Dodgers combined for their first combined no-hitter in Monterrey, Mexico. Go.
I'm watching the game and I'm listening to this moment, and I think Joe Davis describes it well at the end. I'm down typing, and then I get a text from my friend that says, hey, did you just see this Alanna Rizzo high-five Dave Roberts after the game? And I said, I did not. I rewind. Oh, that's weird. I take a screenshot, I send it out as a tweet, and basically say, I guess we're at a point where a Sportsnet LA employee can high-five the manager, and this is the way it is.
For 60% of Southern California, explain who Alanna Rizzo is.
She works for Sportsnet LA as a
Right.
reporter. She's worked there since they've launched the channel in 2014. And she's very good at her job.
Yeah.
She's tenacious. She's aggressive. She asks the right questions. She basically asks the first 2 or 3 questions after every game.
Mm-hmm. Like John Ireland with the Lakers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I've had this opinion that she does her job well, and she, as a reporter, she is a journalist.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently sending this tweet out exposed the fact that most people on Twitter who were first responders to this tweet went out of their minds and were, name calling this and that. We don't consider her a reporter. It's funny. She's a reporter, not a journalist. And I go, I never thought those two were all right.
We're mutually exclusive.
What am
yeah.
I missing?
Right.
Let's talk more about it. While it may be inappropriate to root and congratulate, I'm okay with it because she's part of the Dodger family. I said, well, okay, but I'll bet you if you ask her, she wouldn't consider herself part of the Dodger family. She may be paid by them, but I think deep down she feels like she went to broadcast journalism school. She should be considered a broadcast journalist. So anyway, this whole discussion went crazy on the internet. I wrote a column about it for Sunday's paper. I'm still getting Twitter responses about it. And we just wanted to throw it out as a subject. If you're an employee of the team, do you have to compromise your objectivity? And I think a great example that you brought up and why we need reporters, not just in the mainstream media, but in all people who cover a team. You want to get unbiased and fair and accurate news. I mean, maybe not in so much in your political stance, you want to lean one way or another, but in sports,
Right.
apparently the response I was getting is they want fans covering the games.
Mm-hmm. But the point I made there was if you want a fan's perspective, you want unbiased reporting. For example, Clayton Kershaw is now on the DL. When players go on a DL, that is a recipe for disaster because the player might think he's more hurt than the team or less hurt than the team. He might want to come back sooner or later. It's happened with Michael Jordan. It happened with Derrick Rose. It happens all the time. If you are being paid by the team, Alanna is paid by the team, and you are high-fiving people and you see yourself as connected to the team, well, chances are you might be giving that side of it. If you're able to somehow have a little professional distance. But it's tough. I understand. See, one thing that got Tom and I was when we were coming through, a reporter and journalist were the same thing. More and more we're seeing that a lot of people will say, well, they work for the team and they're a reporter.
And it's
and
funny,
they're
too,
fine
to
with
see
that.
reporters like us get into television, and guys like us will say, I remember when they were great journalists.
Yeah.
Now they're TV personalities that appear to be cultivating information.
Well, and this brought up, it's not really, Alanna, now, again, I don't get the broadcast, so I haven't seen Alanna. Everyone says she does a great job. Terrific. That's wonderful. It really wasn't so much about her, but this blurring line that, for me, goes back to the early days of PTI, which is one of my favorite shows. Mike Wilbon, who was a terrific sports writer, and always says that in the past tense when he's talking.
Yeah.
But he started talking about the Chicago Cubs as we.
Yeah.
What you need to understand is when Tom and I came up, it was absolutely is, I think, still verboten to cheer in the press box. You're not supposed to have a favorite team. There's not supposed to be any appearance that you favor any one team over another. But certainly,
because it's a bad look for the industry. They want to be called out.
Yeah.
If we did something egregious like that, we would want someone to say, "Hey, you crossed the line," and you go, "Yeah, you're right.
Right.
Thanks for telling me that."
Yeah.
I didn't get this sense, and I was getting thanked for telling something like that. I got more of a sense whereas we've had some sort of paradigm shift, and maybe it's again us. And that's why we want to ask John more about that. What kind of what your thought about this whole process is? Does a team that own the TV rights have the right to sort of control the message,
right?
Or do you want fans calling your games?
Now, I think there's a fine line on this. You are watching the home show.
Yep.
That is kind of like, I've always watched home shows, and this is coming up, learning television, learning production, and all that. Even before that, I watched the home show expecting a little bit of homerism.
Yep.
That's kind of what you expect, and it has, over the last 10 years or so, gotten more homerism.
Mm-hmm.
I watch a lot of Indians games out here still because thank you, T-Mobile. They give me the MLB premium package for the last 3 years for free as part of the Major League's deal with T-Mobile.
Yeah.
So I've gotten to watch a lot of Indians games for free, and they have a reporter whose name is Andre something. It's blanking me right now.
Not Dawson.
No. But he same thing. He's pretty chummy with the team.
Right.
But at the same time, because he's kind of chummy with the team, they open up to him a lot more.
Sure.
So
as a
it's a
TV
good point.
program, though.
and you get that,
you get a good interview out of it.
right. And from what I've watched with Alanna, she gets really good interviews out of these guys. Dave Roberts, while he's a really personable guy anyway, he's way nicer to her and way more open and honest with her than he is with Tim Kirchin and with every other guy from like ESPN.
He's got a relationship
he clearly
with
trusts her.
Yeah.
So it's I kind of think it's a little overreaction.
But see, you hit on something, and you just used the term. He and I were speaking this morning about this before we came here, and I was saying, Tommy, I think more and more, again, younger people see sports as a television show. We saw sports as an actual sporting event.
As a thing to cover journalistically.
But you kept calling it a show, and I think I was saying, like, yeah, an actual sporting event, you wouldn't be talking to the participants at halftime and things like that. More and more, I think young people see the NFL, MLB as shows.
It's 100% a show now.
Yeah.
They're miking up outfilders in the preseason games.
Which was hilarious.
Which was hilarious. And the one where
he's like, "Oh God,
I'm not going to get to this one, guys."
Not going to get it.
That stuff is great, and that stuff, and
they want more of it.
Yeah, and they want more of it.
And
I'll give you an example. Just this weekend, we did a broadcast for ESPN3 on Saturday for the Boris Classic.
Mm-hmm.
Scott Boris, his agency does a couple different tournaments in California, Arizona. I think it's in Nevada, but California and Arizona for sure. And the final was this Saturday up at Santa Clara University.
Right.
We had an in-game interview with the manager from Jay Serra.
Right.
He's calling pitches from the dugout. The entire time he's talking to us, he's calling pitches, hand motions, not missing a beat.
Right.
It's the most entertaining television I've seen in like months, and that's part of the show.
Yes.
It happens to be they're coaching a game, and he's doing stuff that matters, but
it's
still
funny,
part of the show.
And I was just thinking that must be actually why the WWE is getting more and more coverage on ESPN, and it doesn't seem
I
as
don't get
distant.
that at all.
Yeah, but it doesn't seem as distant anymore from real sports since they're getting closer
never covered
and
as a
closer.
sport.
Yeah, but
it was a guilty pleasure for sports writers like WWE.
But
now
they
want
always
to cover it.
But they always owned it. They'd always say we're sports entertainment, and I think more and more you're right. The football, basketball, baseball are saying the same thing. That we'll do. I mean, it was the XFL that pioneered having the guy, the cameraman on the field,
and the spider cam above,
which now they all do. And
because they want games to look more like video games to appeal to a younger audience that's used to visualizing a game like that.
Right.
And that's what it was pitched at. If you watch that 30 for 30, this is the XFL. It was pitched as, "Have you played Madden?"
Yes, right.
Then let's check out this way of doing the game. And I'm watching the way that ESPN did those Monday Night Football games.
Yeah.
Where it was 95% Skycam.
Yeah.
That was great.
Yeah.
It was absolutely awesome. I love seeing it.
So as this conversation evolves, you have your first responders who are out of their minds. You have 48 hours later, people going, "Yeah, you're making a lot more sense," and I take them all with equal weight,
right?
Because I think the point I keep making on Twitter, and it's probably the wrong place to have a discussion. Yes. This is much better where you can give and take and listen to people. Right. Where you
you do see John's flipping you off right now.
I don't blame him.
No, Twitter can be toxic.
So.
It's
well, you had people calling your boss.
Yeah.
Fanboys calling your boss, right?
Fanboys, yeah. And my point was too, I would have called out if this was Oral Hershiser doing it.
Has Alanna responded? Has she said like, "Oh, I just got caught up in the moment"?
She's not responded in any way. And to my point in my column too, I think Dave Roberts instigated this high five. The camera showed Dave Roberts holding a high five. I'm hungry. I want some. I want some Wendy's.
There you go.
They showed Dave Roberts holding his hand up. Then Alanna comes into the picture, and I could just hear the guy in the production truck going, "Uh-oh," and she gives him the five, and she kind of backs off. I captured it on TV. I just happened to sort of put it out there. So I was sort of making fun of the thing, but because of the reaction, I wrote a column about it, and I explained, to be fair, this is how I think she could have either not given the high five or turned away, which would make it even more viral, ridiculous reaction.
And let's face it, someone going
high
five,
win.
Sometimes you'll just high five like, "Oh, a reaction."
I'm not going to say, "Oh, congratulations, Dave.
Right.
That was an experience I'll never forget." I'm not that way either. I'm a human being, and she reacted in the moment, and I don't fault her for that. I was faulting the whole, "Hey, let's have a discussion about."
Yes, from reading it, I don't think you were actually taking her to task as much, saying this kind of evolving nature.
David Vassay, who covers the team as a reporter for the Dodger co-owned radio station, is in the same predicament.
I like Vassay because I was telling this to John that he seems to actually speak for the fans in that, like, if someone's not performing, he will call that person out. Now, I never think that he's being totally objective
but I think he gets information. Again, people are comfortable on the team with him. He may sound a little chummy, but I think he's kind of this, he doesn't take himself too seriously, where Alanna does seem to take herself seriously, and that's why I feel like I overestimated her value to the broadcast, and that's my mistake, right?
What do you mean?
Or is it? Because I thought of her as a journalistic reporter. And if this is not what she is, it's my mistake for assuming that this is what she is. Am I calling her out for being it? No. Let's just redefine the whole thing. But I think consumers of sports, should be more demanding of who is giving them information.
I think you have to understand that we both come from the newspaper world, where if you were writing commentary, it would be on a page called Opinion or Commentary. Right. And, of course, this goes way beyond of sports. We see more and more, certainly with political coverage, that what is presented as fact is, of course, opinion. And we see this on certain channels, and the channels I'm talking about.
Whatever emotionally resonates with you is what you side with. And if you side with her emotionally as a non-journalist, that's what you're going to get.
And Colin Cowherd has a great phrase for this. He says, most people don't want to get it right. Most people just want to be right, right? And therefore, anyone who says
like
something
him.
that, that kind of validates what you think.
Yeah.
And so,
just demand more, expect more. Don't lower the bar because you think you have to accept a team-presented you know, get your information from your sources that you trust.
Yeah.
And you know.
And the fact is, most reporters who cover teams, it's not like we're saying you've got to be the meanest person in the world. You can't be that way. You actually have to be very nice.
On a day-to-day basis, you have to go with the flow of a daily.
So you have to smile. You have to, whatever you have to do. But high fives.
It happened. It was an entry point to the discussion.
Just a quick thing. Next time, just throw your hand up in public and see how many people give you high fives. Because
the time.
It is really hard to turn down a good high
You're
five.
right.
Yeah.
I must admit, that is true.
And if Dave Roberts,
nice guy.
nice guy,
it's
cool
hard.
guy,
right,
personable guy, throws up his hand to give you a
Fair
high
point.
five. I'm betting dollars to donuts that both of you guys would have
It's a fair
given him
point.
a high five back.
It's a fair point because
It's
I remember.
fair. Of
I
course
think the
it's
very
fair.
first drill we did, Beto went like this to present me, and I shook his hand. So it's a fair point. We're almost.
It was an entry point. That's all it was. And it's a great discussion we can have.
Yes.
Another 20, 30 minutes on this later. I hope this breaks out into
Yeah.
a drill bit, which we can.
Hey,
sort-
maybe. But
Yeah.
Alana, you're doing good.
Yeah.
Don't
There
worry
you go.
about these-
All right.
Don't
Now,
worry
do you
about
have
these
any-
curmudgeons.
No, we're
No.
not. Okay. Now, do you have
Raccoon update.
not an update? Can you sort of tie this in a bow so we can move on, or do we need to know anything more?
Well, so we thought they were gone. Then they showed up again. Now I haven't heard them lately, but I had the crew who put out the original traps. They came out and they were going to just take the traps, and I said, "Well, you haven't really done anything, you know."
Oh, that's a good way to
Yeah,
start.
yeah. I spent $150. You've been out twice. First time to bring the trap, and then the second time when I said the trap hasn't done anything, you said, let's stick with the trap. I'm like, okay. And now the trap has really become a term of irony, really, because it's only a money trap.
Yeah.
So
there are people that now want to live in this trap because they think it's a great bargain.
So they
for
came
Hermosa
out the other
Beach.
day and they moved the trap. So they moved the trap to a different place. I woke up this morning, still no raccoons. But I didn't hear them either, so I don't know what's going on. But someone was just telling me that on Channel 5 News this morning, they had a story. When these raccoons are running around, it sounds like they're going to come through the ceiling. But I always say, well, of course that can't happen. Well, apparently it happened. And when the cops showed up, all the baby raccoons were on the couch, like doing a little Netflix and chill. And there it is. And so, and then the adult raccoon attacked the cop.
Oh.
Yeah, so that's what I got. Yeah.
Oh, and you know it's Mother's Day, and you want to be nice to mother raccoons.
It's true. It's true. They go through so much.
But you put a.
Because those father raccoons are such bastards.
Well, they
Yeah.
never stick around.
They're awful.
All right.
I don't want to get into that.
I know.
Anyways, I'm sorry, Mike Trout. I really am. Anyways, this has been a pleasure. This has been fun. Let's keep the discussion going about all things raccoons or high fives.
Don't call out your teammates. It's just not going to be a good look.
Yeah, but do call
But Beto,
them.
would you get in here once in a while?
I know. We miss you.
We offer you all this stuff.
Yeah, we
You
got
wanna
a new thing back
Yes.
there. Anyways, let's get out of here. Please follow us on YouTube and on Facebook and on
FatherOffTheWall.com.
Yes, okay.
Our Twitter.
What are your Twitter guys?
I am at Steve Lowery 12. Thank you.
And I'm at just Tom Hoffarth.
Yeah. Okay.
And you're,
You can find me somehow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
However you
we're all
choose.
linked to something.
Yes, we are all
And,
linked to something. That's really deep. Yeah, that's all great.
We're all a big part of
We
the
got to
Dodgers.
figure out how to end these things.
We're all
They're
big-
always very unsatisfactory.
true.
Okay, so yeah,
Re-
that's it.
reporting live from Carson. This is Tom Hoffarth.
And Steve Lowry, high
Yeah.
five.
No.
Oh, come on. Oh.
No, sorry.